So a few weeks ago, we recorded a video that highlighted how ChatGPT and OpenAI had these subtle, maybe not so easy to find biases around, in the examples we gave, specific types of religions. Well, if you thought that was bad, wait till you see what Google's up to, because they are having a hold my beer moment. Let's check it out. Hey folks, Mark here with The Rational Workforce. Thanks so much for tuning in. So if you've been on Twitter at all recently, you know that Google has recently launched their latest imagining of their AI, this time codenamed Gemini, to much fanfare, and they were paying a particular focus around the AI's ability to generate really incredible looking images based off of relatively simple text fonts or word-based input. Very, very cool feature, something that we've seen, other AI applications do before, but this was Google's latest and greatest, the biggest and baddest kid on the block was rolling it out. So folks just had to check out and see what it was all about. But things were not quite as smooth or as positive as I'm sure Google imagined. And let's take a look at what we're talking about. So started seeing some chatter pop up on Twitter, and then later it was trending around some peculiarities on how Google's AI was treating certain subject matters, specifically certain ethnicities. So we're going to take you a walk through some of those and unpack it now. So this Twitter user here is actually someone who works for Google and posted this saying, "I've never been so embarrassed to work for a company." And you can see the prompt that he put in was, "Paint me a historically accurate depiction of a medieval British king." And judging by the photos you see below, probably not the stereotypical that pops into mind when you think about a medieval British king, especially not the Native American full headdress. That's an interesting choice, but maybe it was a fluke. Maybe this was a one-off. Maybe this was a glitch in the system. So I started doing a little more research and looking at what some other results that came up were. And here's an interesting example of some other things that were shown, right? So this user asked Google to generate an image of a white couple, and it said, while I am able to generate images, it is against my policy to generate images based on other people's race or ethnicity. But when you ask it to do an image of a black couple, an image of a Middle Eastern couple, or an image of an Asian couple, it certainly had no problems producing that. Let's look at some other things. Someone asked it to produce an image of a pope. You'll see it gave some interesting results here, including what looks like the female version of Pope John Paul II. Again, interesting choice. Here are some images of what Google thinks a Viking would look like, a historically accurate Viking. And again, this was just open-ended prompts. Give me an image of a Viking, right? Here's an image of what Google's AI thinks a typical Swedish woman looks like. And here's another example where a user prompted it to say, render me a picture of a white cowboy. Google responded and said, I understand that you would like an image of a cowboy, but I'm unable to fulfill your request to specify the character's ethnicity. He immediately jumped into saying, render me a picture of a black cowboy. And Google was very happy to oblige, and the image quality is fantastic, right? I mean, look at these photos. The system does an amazing job, but look at the bias behind it. Look at what's going on. So again, we're kind of in an election year. This is social media. You never know what's really real and what isn't. So I did a little poking around in the media, and it turns out like this is a legit thing. So here's from CNBC. Google pauses Gemini AI image generator after it created inaccurate historical pictures. Fox Business was a little more on the nose and specific in their headlines. Google apologizes after new Gemini AI refuses to show pictures and achievements of white people. So it's very interesting dynamic that's going on. It's a very interesting set of circumstances. And based on the way things are lining up, it looks like it's not exactly accidental. So let's take a look at who is in charge of this program for Google. In this Fox News story, they actually highlighted the gentleman who helms the project. His name is Jack Krosik. I might be butchering that last name. But let's just watch a couple of snippets of the video from Jack talking about his imagining and his vision for the power of this new AI.
New ways of doing things that we can be more compassionate with one another. And I think in a time where the world is going crazy, if we can turn to a tool that allows us to consider alternate perspectives, be more kind to one another, it's a really remarkable time.
All right, so admirable. Look at other perspectives, be kinder to each other, generally look at some different viewpoints. All sounds well and good, but when you dig into Jack's Twitter history, there's some interesting things that pop up. So this was something that he had tweeted in response back in 2018 to a really kind of, in my opinion, tasteless image of an editorial cartoon showing the Statue of Liberty being hung. The gentleman shared it and just simply said, Jesus. And Jack, our friend who helms the Twitter AI, said, nah, Jesus only cares about white kids. I'm pretty sure that's in the Bible. Wanted to see if this was just kind of a throwaway line, and nope. Jack says here, white privilege is effing real. Don't be an asshole and act guilty about it. Do your part in recognizing bias at all levels of egregious. Here's another example where Jack says, this is America, where racism is the number one value our populace seeks to uphold above all. And then here we have another example of the same tweet. So you get the picture. And now when we dial this back and we start looking at how prolific AI is becoming in the business world, and in my case specifically, how much I'm seeing human resources embrace and extol the virtues of AI, it goes back to curation. It's just like in the media, right? You've got editorial directors and you've got folks that are kind of in charge of gatekeeping what makes it into the paper, what makes it into broadcast, what makes it to the website, and what doesn't. That's kind of one way that you get a filtered version of the news. And as a journalism major, as someone who's worked as a journalist before and as an editorial director, kind of know what I'm talking about here. Like, this is something that actively goes on. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's not a wacky right-wing anything. It's the way media works. But let's bring this back to the world of AI. Now, if these AIs are remarkably powerful, they can do incredible things. But they have to be trained. They have to be given a set of content that is curated invariably by a human that tells the AI, hey, learn from this. This is the sandbox that you play in when you're making decisions and when you're operating your algorithms. And if the information that is fed into that AI is biased in some way, if the person who's helming it, as we saw with our friend Jack here, has a particular agenda that they would like to push out, you can't be shocked when you get results like what just popped up here. So it's something that we very much have to be guarded on. For folks who may be watching this that are employers, business owners, HR professionals, please make sure that you are safeguarding your organization against having stuff like that happen. DE&I, you know my opinion on it if you've watched this channel before. It's important if it's taken at its basis. It's important if it's embraced for full diversity and full inclusion. That means neurodiverse people. That means ideologically diverse standpoints. You may not agree with all the opinions that your employees bring to the table, but if you truly embrace DEI, if you truly embrace diversity, you're going to want all of those opinions. You're going to want all of those sentiments kind of reflected and talked about, not pushed down and restricted, which in my heart of hearts, I truly believe is going on today. And when you see stuff like this that we just showed you through Google happen, it kind of lends a little bit of insight, or maybe a little bit of credibility into those who have concerns that the curation is maybe from design forcing out people from the conversation and from representation. So it's something to be aware of. And if you're an employee and you suspect this is happening in things around AI or things that are even happening directly to you, document. make sure that you understand that, make sure that you're keeping a running record whenever things like this pop up, because you just never know. It's better to have some notes on the way you were treated, or instances where you feel like you've been held back for different reasons, than to not have it, because things just happen. There's a lot of layoffs that are going on right now, and you never know when it might come in handy. So that's my 2 cents worth. What do you think? Did you have a chance to play around with the Google AI before it was temporarily shut down so they could fine tune it? Are these results full of it? Are we just seeing what happened on Twitter as a microcosm, or a small percentage of what really went on, and it was being amplified and exploded because it was social media? I'd love to hear what you think. These were the examples that I found. If you found something different, let's share it out there. In the meantime, if you haven't already, click like, click subscribe, ring the bell, do all the things to help the channel keep growing. Really appreciate it, and we will catch you on the next one. Thanks so much. Bye.